police officer in Norristown. We became great friends. And so we have some people here that have something to say that know Frank worked with him. So I want to introduce our MC, Don Giordano, weighing 160, about 85 pounds, wearing a blue suit. And he is with the WPHT, the Big Talker Show 1210. And in this corner, Don Giordano. Hello.
I know about 185, 188, and the suit is charcoal. Thanks everyone for coming out today. Before we start with any dignitaries, we'd just like to take a moment of silence to recognize the fallen Philadelphia firefighters recently, Philadelphia cop last night, who knows what that was about in Mount Airy, and the Philadelphia cop that was killed recklessly, a guy with multiple children that we all miss. A moment of silence for our fallen. The firefighters, because certainly with Commissioner Rizzo here, Frank Rizzo was just not about police officers. He was about those that run toward the buildings, toward the gunshots, toward the fires, rather than away from them. That's what he and his brother did all of their lives and continue to support and do today. That's what my father, my sister, my brother-in-laws, two of them did in that service also. So we recognize that, and we recognize in this day of heroes that have fallen off the pedestal, it's nice to go by and see this statue here and to know what Frank Rizzo meant, to know his legacy, people like Lynn Abraham, Joan Krajewski, and others over the years, and to see that continue here in Philadelphia. Without further ado, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, Drew J. Monahan, former Abington police officer and special agent, Attorney General's office. Drew?
Thank you, Dom. In past years, we've had a flag right here. We were able to get a larger one this year, right here. You all join me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
N. Cameron Chandler, baritone from Norristown, Pennsylvania. M. Cameron Chandler will be back momentarily, but first, our first speaker of the day, as I mentioned a moment ago, legacy of someone who knew Frank Rizzo as well as anyone, someone who stood tall through remarkable years as the DA of the city of Philadelphia, DA Lynn Abraham. Brain could speak. I forgot. How can I forget? My fault. First up, Father Edward Brady, pastor of St. Anne's Catholic Church, Fishtown, Kensington, chaplain for the Pennsylvania State Police and the Irish Memorial. Father Brady.
Thank you, Dom. Thank you, Dom. Let us bow our heads. Most gracious God, we thank you for the gift of life, and on this day, the life of Mayor Frank Rizzo. We ask for your continued blessings upon his wife, Carmela, his children, Joanna and Frank Jr., as well as his dedicated and most loyal friend, Hank Cisco. Bless all of the men and women in blue who walked the beat as Frank started in 1943. Thanks is given to you this day for the talents Frank used as our commissioner and mayor. Through the intercession of St. Francis of Assisi, we ask you to inspire us all to respect all life, especially our pets, just as Frank did for Casey and Andy, and may we always be a channel for peace. Bestow this same peace upon all the police commissioners across our great land for the promotion of racial equality, as Mayor Rizzo did by having one of the most diverse departments for his time. May his ability to be fair and balanced be emulated in the future generation of civil servants. Amen.
The DA of the city of Philadelphia, former DA Lynn Abraham.
Thank you, Dom. I think it's fair to say that Frank Rizzo would be weeping today over the untimely and horrific death of Brian Lorenzo and other officers who have been killed in the line of or just going to or from their duty. Frank was a very interesting person. Anybody who knew him knew that. And as I try to do every year, usually I'm here with Tony Fullwood, but Tony is now employed with Allied Barton and is likely at work. So I went through my archives and I brought this wonderful picture of me and Frank from 1972. And yes, I did have brown hair. And yes, I was thinner then. No unkind remarks. And this is a wonderful keepsake that I have from Frank when I was the head of the Redevelopment Authority, which, by the way, is responsible for much of what you see around you today. Also, because of it was so popular last year, I brought some more of the sayings from Frank in a book that I brought, my little red book. And he was truly hysterical. And since Joe is here again this year, I want to read you what he said about Joe. The first thing I did after becoming mayor was make my brother Joe the fire commissioner. A lot of people said that that was nepotism. I didn't know what nepotism was, so I called my brother and said, Joe, did you pick up anything when you were stationed in Japan? And then Frank was talking about hardworking Americans on work ethic. He said, your parents are hardworking Americans who get up at 5 a.m. every morning to go to work. They come home dog-tired, maybe fall asleep watching TV in the living room. These other people, these loudmouths, don't get up until noon. That's why they're so full of vim and vigor. They want to sentence graffiti artists to art school instead of making them scrub it off the walls. These creeps who need baths and won't work, as long as I'm around, they're dead. The idiots that run loose in the city are against everything that is American and apple pie. They're always saying how great it is in Red China and Cuba. I'd like to get a boat and ship them all over there. And finally, I think that Frank was really very irritated about newspapers. He said, the newspapers have made me a prude. I can't get away with a thing. Listen, if I wanted to cut a caper with a promiscuous broad, I'd have to find out one who was an Eskimo and meet her in an igloo, and I'd probably have to wear a beard and a disguise at that. And finally, since we're always talking about the Board of Education, nothing has changed, or almost almost nothing since 1973. He was talking about Bill Ross, the then chairman of the school board. See if this doesn't somehow ring a bell, and this is his words, not mine. That dumb schmuck Ross. You know, the chairman of the school board, William Ross, our true blue buddy. Who the hell do you think I was calling a schmuck? Dick Tracy? I'm the best pal he ever had. You know what I mean? Now look at him. Listen to the guy shooting off his mouth like that, saying all those things about that dumb schmuck. It don't make sense. And that's about what Frank said. This is a wonderful book, compiled not by the friends of Frank Rizzo, but the people who didn't like him. But I must say, he did know how to turn a phrase. Oh, what we wouldn't do for a little more candor and honesty today. Just like Frank Rizzo knew all about and didn't care about the consequences. God bless his memory, God bless his family, and God bless the United States of America.
City Councilman Dennis O'Brien.
Thanks, Dom. Asking me to comment on that is an outrage. I'm going to be very short because my good friends Joe Rizzo and Joe O'Neill, one time I was giving what I thought was a wonderfully eloquent speech about my crime package in Harrisburg, and they interrupted me right at the climax and said, you know what? Frank Rizzo didn't think you were that bright. You're pretty smart. But I was 23 when I had my first political encounter with Frank L. Rizzo. I had just gotten elected for the first time. I was in Harrisburg in the infamous 77 budget battle, and Frank called me on the phone and asked me if I was going to vote for the budget. I asked him a question. I said, Mayor, can I ask you a question? He goes, I don't have time for questions. Are you with me or against me? So I said, wait a minute, did you think of this, Mayor? And he said, I don't have time for that. Are you with me or against me? Well, this went on for a couple minutes, and finally I said something totally inappropriate, and I hung up the phone. And Tony Sirica, who's now in the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, said, did you just say that to Frank Rizzo? And I said, you know what? I think I did. I met him one night in front of 1,500 people at a zoning issue. It was a high-rise apartment house and a meeting center. Vernon Odom was there, and they asked me to speak either for 15 minutes or an hour, depending on when the mayor showed up. It was right after this conversation I had, and he turned and he goes, so you're Denny O'Brien, and I guess at 23 you're kind of all full of yourself. And I just looked and I did my James Cagney imitation. I go, so you're Frank Rizzo. Well, I had a couple other choice encounters with the man over the next couple years. And I have to tell you, at one point, standing toe-to-toe in front of Frank Rizzo in front of 1,500 people changes your life. And it enabled me to go into any room at any time and just assess the conversation and the challenge that was in front of me and say, you know what, you're no Frank Rizzo. And I went about my business in a way that I thought Frank would be proud. He was a man of community. A community in the police department and in the fire department, and certainly a man of community in this great city of Philadelphia, which he taught us how to love. He brought all of us together. He had a sense of everyone. There wasn't a person, and this is the thing I probably love most about him, there wasn't a person that couldn't approach Frank Rizzo and tell him what was in his heart or her heart and what they needed to be successful that day or for the rest of their life. And you know what? Frank always showed value in everybody that he met, and he took care of that individual as he would take care of everybody in this great city. He was truly a leader of his time. He had no political loyalties as far as parties. He stood up for what he believed, and God knows we need more of that today. There would be no gridlock if Frank Rizzo were around, because he had a unique sense of finding out what was right and leading us down that path. So Frank, every day I now park across the street in front of TD Bank, and when I get out of the car I look in your direction and I feel that you're personally waving to me, and it's a good way to start a day. So Frank, thank you for everything that you taught me, and it's wonderful to celebrate your life here today.
Oh, my God, when I also wonder, consider all the big world I have made. I see the stars. I hear the rolling thunder. Thy power throughout the universe display. When then I shall bow in humble adoration, and there proclaim, oh my God, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art. How great thou art. Oh, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art. How great
Sweeney, Lieutenant Robert Neary, both from Ladder 10 of the Philadelphia Fire Department, who lost their lives fighting that fire in a Kensington factory. Our closing prayer.
Before our prayer, just on a personal note, it's interesting how things come around. For instance, Robert Neary was a neighbor to my cousin. Dan Sweeney was at St. Cecilia's where I ministered. I knew him and his family, you know, and Brian Lorenzo, the Highway Patrol, they know I know them very well. So, and the other ones I'm sure I know in some format or another. So, as we start in the beginning, let us take a moment of silence for all of our fallen civil servants, and especially for the Robert Neary and his family, and Daniel Sweeney, Brian Lorenzo, Christopher Reeves, and all of those who were mentioned earlier at the start who have recent tragedies. Thank you. And after being involved with both Ladder 10, Ladder 16, and the various districts of visiting, we ask you to bless the members of all the ladders and districts represented as they continue to protect the common good and regain the courage to go out and to serve us in all forms. Amen.
And Dean Garafola, one more time with audience participation. God bless America.
God bless America, land
Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show, ladies and gentlemen. We're right here, Frank Rizzo statue right here in our Center City Hall, right in the back of you. And we're going to have a little ceremony here. It's going to start. I want you to meet some of the people that are friends for many years. Frank Rizzo. Today, July the 16th. Today, hi. We're Wallen. That's far from here. So we're here to celebrate and honor a memorial to Frank Rizzo. He was a great guy. From Philadelphia. So now I'm just going to introduce some of the people that are his friends that work with police commissioners, different officials. Okay? Here we go. All right, tell me who you are. Chief Inspector. You work with Frank Rizzo with my dad worked with Frank all the time. Remember the Mangione? Yes, sir. All right. Former police commissioner Joe O'Neill, who worked with Mayor Rizzo. Joe. From all the times, tough times, rough times, but for the great city of Philadelphia. Commissioner O'Neill. Welcome to the memorial here. Right. I want to just say, how many years did you work with Frank? 20 years. Right. And, you started off as a police officer in Norristown, Philadelphia. Right, and you went up from captain right on up. You were police commissioner under Mayor Rizzo. And you guys were really tight friends, right? To work, get this town together. Okay, we're going to get part of the ceremony, so thanks a lot for coming here. And I'm going to meet some of your friends here. My name is Hank Cisco. As a good friend, I've known you for many, many years. Okay, all right. Father, come on over here. Yeah. We got a priest who's going to say, come on over here. How we doing? How we Good to see you again. Yeah, you are. My Father Brady. Now tell him who you are and what you do and where you are.
Oh, I'm Father Ed Brady from St. Anne's in Port Richmond. I'm the pastor there. I also am a chaplain for many, many fine organizations, and I've been invited down for the past 2 years to give the prayer at this fine dedication. And I thank you for the honor. I thank you very much.
We're going to hear you. You're going to do the prayer.
I got the prayer. Yeah, I'm going to do the opening prayer, and I got the prayer. And the closing prayer, and I got the guy's names all set.
Okay.
Okay, you're welcome. Right.
Right. Tell them who you are and what you do.
Ed McBride with PICO, 43 years. I'm their external affairs manager for Philadelphia County and an old-time friend of Mayor Rizzo's burials.
Right. And so now you're on the committee there.
Yeah.
For 21 years we've been doing this now.
This is the 21st year, and I think it's something that a lot of the public are interested in. He was certainly a fascinating guy and also one of the best leaders in the city history.
Okay, we're going to see you're going to be helping the reason. Okay?
Right.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have here, you want to keep that up, bro? Yeah. All right. The former district attorney here in Philadelphia, Lynn Abraham, and better known as a tough cookie. And let me tell you, she never lost a fight in the dressing room. Here she was, the former district attorney from Philadelphia, Lynn Abraham. All right, Lynn, thanks a lot. You've been coming here for 21 years.
Yeah,
Right.
well, Frank was a wonderful, wonderful hero. We had our disagreements, of course, some pretty big. But I think this statue really represents something important for Philadelphia. We talk about the legacy of Rizzo. His name is still mentioned in respectful tones all around the city. And for those of us who had a chance to work with him personally, it was quite a feat.
I know you locked horns with him, but
I certainly did.
You got to remember what Cisco said. All sunshine makes deserts. If you want a beautiful garden, you have to have rain, snow, hail, and you have a beautiful garden. Okay,
and
right.
Hank also said, hit him in Laban's.
Okay, we're going to hear from you later. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my good friend here, Stu Monahan, former police officer in Abington Township and an agent with the Attorney General, Ruff, retired. Now he's a real helper, a real supporter of Frank Rizzo for many, many years. A good friend of mine for many years. So, Stu, tell us what you know about Frank Rizzo.
Well, I'm sure happy to be here, enjoying the festivities, even though it is a memorial service. But thanks very much to Hank Cisco for once again remembering Frank Rizzo. This is the 21st year that we've assembled here, both at Holy Sepulchre Cemetery and here. I have memories of Frank both off and on the job. I knew the family, young Frank and I knew one another when we were kids. So I was fortunate enough to come up and be friendly with the Rizzo family. I live near Frank's daughter now, Joanna, and through Frank, actually, I've kept in touch with Carmela. And I'm glad to be able to be here, for sure.
All right, thank you. All right, my good friend here, Del, who, his father, a good friend of mine. We worked together promoting fights at different fundraisers, and now he's in the business of, he's a lawyer, and he's in the business of fundraising. So tell us something about yourself.
As you say, I'm an attorney here in Center City, and just recently helped promote an event to help knock out homelessness. We do charity works for other organizations, for Ronald McDonald House here in Philadelphia. Now talking with Rock here about doing a charity event, maybe do a boxing exhibition in Montgomery County. Montgomery County firemen versus policemen, do some fundraising.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Rock.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, another friend of Frank Rizzo, inspector here. Now tell us who you are and what you do.
Inspector Mike Cochran of Assigned Data Police Division.
What department?
The police department assigned to the East Police Division as the inspector.
Okay. And how long have you been?
I've been on the job since my 32nd year.
Were you around when Rizzo was here?
No, I was not. Well, I was around, but not as a police officer. I came on in 1981, but I respected them like everybody else.
You look like you're in good shape.
Yeah, I'm holding up. Yeah, no, I'm holding up for 32 years.
That's good. I mean, the fact that we're honoring Frank Rizzo memorial here today, he did what he thought was best. I'm talking to the Abraham, which is, they used to lock horns, and they used to call her Rizzo, called her a tough cookie,
Right. No, that's politics. In the end, everybody.
Well, good luck. Thanks a lot for stopping. Okay. All right. My next friend here, Frank Rizzo, is here. Show respect. Lieutenant, Philadelphia Police Department, Highway Department, and I want him to tell what he does. It's his job, motorcycle. Everybody knows just what happened here this last week about one of the motorcycle men. So tell us something.
Yeah, I knew that, right by the cemetery where some of my family's buried.
The second is the part that most people motorcycles and motorcycle building. I usually perform at the thrill show and other functions around the city and the country.
Yeah, it was 32nd, yeah.
Last Saturday
In 81, I just missed it.
So he was part of the show, like motorcycle.
Yes, he was actually the co-captain of it.
Yeah, I've been around. I've been in here. I have 3 years in highway instruction, but it's South Captain 3 years up in motorcycle training. Yes, sir.
Well, like, well respected.
Yes, I would leave there.
That's nice of us.
There.
One thing that bugged me about the people was his photo showed the ground.
Right.
There was a suit.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay. So, Lieutenant, I understand that the family...
Right, he was the last one, then they had a grave. So I think we're always going to have a couple. They're money to the family. They're up in the 100% they were making it.
There's no administrative.
All good. Yes, sir.
You get information that's on your credit card.
Okay. That makes right.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think the clown's got it.
I'm a former police officer too.
That'd be wonderful.
Glad how you
I'm a
been.
former boxer.
I know that was a minor thing. Just
We'll work
came to
together.
work with the trophy, but
Anytime we can help
I had your
police, firemen. All right. right, ladies and gentlemen, Chief Inspector Boyle, Philadelphia Police, is here, showing respect. Frank Rizzo, 21 years we've been coming here. Frank Rizzo was a good friend of mine when I was the policeman in Norristown. He helped me out, sending the inspector over to help set up a juvenile division. And we were great friends. Family, Frank died. They asked me to be one of the pollers. I never worked for him, but we're great friends. It's so good to see some of these chief inspectors and police officers here showing respect. So, Inspector, tell us, you're in a city now that's really working. Good job, right?
Well, we always had work in this city. There was never job security.
They're out there genuine, like the police product.
But Commissioner Rizzo, Mayor Rizzo, helped me get a start in the police department, and he's always been, just a friend of the family, and someone to look up to, and certainly been a positive influence in the community. And it's just such a shame that we have to come and posthumously give him our best. Brian Lorenzo was an absolute ace, a friend of a number of our police officers. He was the creme de la creme of the department. I mean, everything you hear about him is an understatement. So he really lost a great guy.
Brian, great friend of the police.
Super guy.
And we've been talking about it. I think we're going to help financially, help out the family.
We're so grateful for that. It'll go a long way. He's got Brian has a 4-year-old little guy that's going to, need us to know just what it is to be lost up on 95 and what we are.
Commissioner O'Neill, I had Commissioner O'Neill first introduced me to Mayor Rizzo. We were great friends, and I'm so happy to be able to come here. 21 years, you come here every year. So thanks a lot for coming.
It's one of the deaths where we all remember where we were when we heard the general had passed away.
There's Joe Rizzo, brother of Frank Rizzo, former fire commissioner in Philadelphia, and a good friend of everybody. I haven't heard anybody say, Joe Rizzo, nice guy, period, okay? And he is always willing to help. He comes here every year that we've had for 21 years. Respect memorial for Frank Rizzo. So, Joe, thanks. Tell us something. What this means to you.
It means a lot to me. People remember my brother for all the good he did in his life. He's a great man. He should be respected.
Sign around. On the sign you see, he's the man that does the donations. He does a real good job. He's on the committee. Me and Pride, Monahan. So tell us what got you involved with.
You got me involved, really. It's just, I remember Frank Rizzo as a kid growing up. My parents were from Philadelphia. I remember hearing his name a lot as a child. And then you look at his accomplishments and what he did. And obviously I met you and I'm looking for some help on this. Trying to get it organized. So I said, I'm in.
Okay, thanks a lot. All right, welcome to the Hank Cisco Show.
Hey, I'm pleased to be here.
What's your name?
Johnny Andrews.
Johnny Andrews.
Yep.
Where you from?
I'm from Logan in Philadelphia.
Where?
The Logan section of
How
Philadelphia.
long did you live in Philadelphia?
Oh, all my life.
Yeah?
Yep.
What do you know about Frank Rizzo?
All I know is a lot of people don't like Rizzo, but when Rizzo was in Philadelphia, we had law and order in the city. Whether you like him or not, we had law and order. And we have law state.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, some people don't like it, just like sunshine. You can't have sunshine all the time. You have the rain, the snow, you have the beautiful garden, right?
that's right.
All sunshine makes desert. So you're gonna have he had everything. He was lightning, thunder, and
But
everything.
you know what
right?
I'm so upset about?
Why?
A white man kills a black boy, right? And the whole world was upset. But black boys are murdering black boys in this city every day, and ain't nobody upset. They're shooting out babies down in the street like dogs, and they still ain't know something is wrong, man.
Yeah. So you're all right. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Stick around.